Welcome to CRIS, the Community Housing Regulatory Information System. CRIS is the IT system used by the National Regulatory System for Community Housing. In this video, we're going to look at the asset data necessary for an application for registration. The application for registration is submitted in two parts: an eligibility and tier form, used to determine a provider's eligibility and the likely tier in which they will apply. The second section is the full application for registration, which includes performance data and all of the evidence required to be registered as a community housing provider. The Community Housing Asset Summary Report collects the minimal data necessary to determine a provider's likely tier. It is collected as part of the eligibility and tier form and consists of the following information: ownership, maintenance liabilities, and future activities, both development and acquisition, planned by a provider. The information for the Community Housing Asset Summary Report, or CHASR, is collected in the same spreadsheet as the Community Housing Asset Performance Report. The spreadsheet consists of an introduction tab, where you will enter the provider's name, the provider's ABN, and the date at which we are reporting the assets, detailed instructions on completing the spreadsheet. The first tab, the Community Housing Asset Summary Report, is the only section which must be completed for the eligibility and tier form. Once the eligibility and tier form has been submitted and the primary registrar has determined the likely tier and whether a provider is eligible, the full Community Asset Performance Report must be completed and submitted as part of the application. The Community Housing Asset Performance Report is used as part of the assessment of a provider's compliance with Performance Outcome 2 and 6. It collects information on maintenance liabilities, ownership, the type of accommodation, the class of asset under the national law, whether there is a state housing authority vested interest, and the age of the portfolio for which the provider has responsive and cyclical responsibilities, the age of the portfolio for which the provider has all maintenance responsibilities, including structural, summary details for changes in the year for both leased properties and properties owned by the provider, and planned growth over the next 5 years. Providers have two choices when completing the Asset Performance Report. They can enter the details directly into this tab 3, Community Housing Asset Performance Report, or they can complete the asset list. The asset list is not obligatory, but can be manually completed or can be aligned with the provider's asset management software to allow an export from the provider's asset management software. Please note that certain values, including state, ownership, state housing vested interest, the state or territory that holds the interest, housing use type, the asset class, and maintenance liability must align with those values shown in tab 4, obligatory values. If providers elect to complete the asset list, they must ensure that the values entered match those values in the drop-down lists. Otherwise, an error message will appear. If a provider elects to complete the asset list and completes it correctly, the Asset Performance Report will automatically complete. Providers that choose to complete the Asset Performance Report manually must ensure that totals match maintenance liabilities and ownership, for example, classes of asset under the national law, and age of portfolio, for example. Whether the asset list is completed or not, the summary details and planned growth must be manually completed. For further details, please see the NRSCH website or contact your assigned analyst or primary registrar.